Hello, I'm Vince, also known as PleasantKenobi on the internet, and welcome to another video where I moan about magic a little bit, with hints of love and passion and other hints of frustration and upset. I was lucky enough yesterday to get to play Unsanctioned early. I've got a box of it here, sent through as a free preview from Wizards of the Coast, #sponsor and all that jazz. That video will be out on Tuesday next week. I really enjoyed it. Myself and my friend Heppel, we played, we laughed, it was great. Generally think the product is solid as this sort of board game experience based within Magic. And for the most part, that's how I feel about the majority of my Magic experiences. I think they are well crafted, well designed, interesting and fun experiences. From Commander through to Unsanctioned, to Battle Bond, to Conspiracy. On the whole, they tend to, tick the box, especially the supplemental stuff that is separate from the humdrum that Standard can become. After Heppel had gone home and I had turned my cameras off and I packed down all my stuff, and I sat down with my wife and we watched the finals of The Good Place, which was genuinely a tearjerker. I then went to bed with my wife, and as we, lie down for the night, I always scroll for my phone, and I remembered, oh, Wizards of the Coast were teasing an announcement for a new product. Like they always do. Turns out this new thing they were going to announce is literally another booster product, Jumpstart, which, in a vacuum, I'm excited for. It sounds awesome. It sounds right up my fucking street. It's the kind of thing I enjoy. I love chaos drafting. I love weird limit environments, booster blitz, pack wars, chaos drafting in cube. And it's got loads of new cards for legacy and vintage. Just sign me the fuck up. But the problem is these things don't exist in a vacuum, right? They exist within the ecosystem of Magic, and the common complaint right now is there too much? Too much product? Too many things to be excited about? Are we getting hyped for something else? Like, Unsanctioned isn't even out yet. My Unsanctioned video isn't even out yet, and people aren't even thinking or caring about Unsanctioned because we've got another product coming up. Now, part of that is because Unsanctioned is a weird niche Magic product, so I get that. So I'm not bitter or frustrated about that, but I think it's happening a lot where you stop caring. On my Discord this morning, we've got Jumpstart being talked about, and other players haven't even played Mystery Booster yet, because Mystery Booster isn't out yet in retail stores. It's round and round and round, it's hard to keep track. For that reason, today I'm going to be talking about burnout and product burnout, too much product overload, especially when it comes to Commander as well. Before we really jump into it though, let's just talk about Jumpstart for a second. It's a format where you take two 20-card boosters, you mash them together, you shuffle them together, they're themed. There is a card or an insert in each of the boosters. You open your normal booster packaging, the package again with an insert telling you each one's themed. Cats, unicorns, Garrick, all sorts of weird themed pirates. Sounds awesome. You shuffle them together and you play 1v1 matches with this weird pseudo-sealed deck you just built out of two boosters. Now, part of the whole burnout of product is trying to figure out what the fuck anything really is. So I've had to go and collate my notes here around what this product is, and it made me realise that actually I couldn't tell you right now exactly what's going on with like Mystery Booster and its extra spare slot. I found out that it's foils. There's going to be foils in the slot where the test cards were in the GP release of Mystery Booster. And now I know that. Cool, I guess, but it's not that that information isn't out there and Googleable, it's that there's so much information you can't retain it. Jumpstart will have 500, almost 500 reprints, which is a great thing that I'm going to come to a bit more later in the video, as well as 37 new cards. Now here's where things get really complicated, unnecessarily complicated, which is one of the other key points of this video. Things are too fucking complicated. 37 new cards, right? They're not standard legal, they're not pioneer legal, they're not modern legal. They're only legal in true Eternal formats. So modern isn't really an Eternal format, and Eternal format is a format that has all cards in Magic legal, barring restrictions and bans, and that means Vintage, Legacy, Commander, and I guess Canlander and other Highlander formats. So we have 37 new cards going into Legacy, Vintage, and Commander. Cool. They're also going to be legal in Historic. Why, I hear you ask? Because this set's being released on Arena. This appears to be the first time that they're going to go, oh, here's a cool supplemental thing, and we need to tie it to Arena. Tie it to Arena now. This sounds like, if I'm honest, not a design level choice of the designers of the game, the people who are the product architects and the people designing your Magic experience. This feels like a board level decision where they're like, X number of products this year supplemental products have to tie in, because Commander decks can't, right? And Mystery Booster can't, so they're like, pick 3 and make them work on Arena. So they've gone with this, and therefore it's then had to connect to Historic to keep that sinking, burning pile of tires alive. Pioneer is eventually coming to Arena, that's what we've been told, but they still have this Historic thing going on, and this is coming to one of the points that I'm going to keep coming back to, is confusion, right? Pioneer has just been implemented. I've got a friend getting back into Magic after 6 years. He didn't know what Modern was, let alone Legacy and Vintage. I've had to explain that. Then someone mentioned Pioneer. He's like, what's Pioneer? So I'm explaining Pioneer. And then you've got this historic side tangent as well. You've got Brawl. You've got multiple different types of boosters for your standard product. He's like, oh, we've got some new frames. You've got these cool frame planeswalkers. Are they available in draft boosters, Vince? You should know this. You make YouTube videos about this shit. And I'm like, I think they are. I think they are. I'm not sure. Because we've got Historic and Pioneer both being grown. Pioneer's the real format, right? We have, player tours and stuff being played off of it. Historic's like its smaller brother who's just annoying and no one wants to be there. It's like, go away, Historic, you shit. But it's just fucking confusing. So yeah, that's Jumpstart. It's feeding into her Historic. So Historic will have a different card pool. Let's just go back to that. Sorry, I've wondered how confusing it is to have multiple formats. Think of this. Historic will have all of the 37 new cards that are in the Jumpstart packs, but Pioneer and Modern won't. So Historic is no longer, and this is a good thing and a bad thing, it's not going to be Pioneer or Modern Light. It's going to be its entirely different fucking format where randomly 37 cards that are legal in Legacy are also legal in Historic. What happens when only half of those cards get reprinted in Conspiracy 3 in a year or two's time? And people are like, well, if those are reprinted, are these other Conspiracy cards legal in Historic? And you're like, no, they're not. Or maybe they will be, because the next Conspiracy product has to be on Arena. How will that work? Well, it can't. So does that mean the next supplemental sets won't be draftable multiplayer sets because of Arena? And now I'm exhausted. I'm fucking exhausted. I've gone off script. Or the cards in Jumpstart are complete trash and we'll see no play in any Eternal format. But I'm confused. I think I'm quite a smart guy. I'm quite switched on. And I'm already a bit worried about how confusing it all is. How more confusing can it get? So we're saying there's too much product, okay? I'm going to go through and list what I've written down here for what I know is coming out, and I'm definitely going to miss something here. Okay, so we've got, on February 29th, Unsanctioned comes out, okay? It's sick. If you want like a party game experience, I do recommend it. March 13th, Mystery Boosters. Or at least that's the date that I found in an article. They talked about when they're going to reveal the foilings. Again, we still don't know. We're like, what? 3 weeks out and we don't know what the foils in that set are, so that's another hype piece coming up. April 24th, Ikoria. 71 new cards are going to be in the Ikoria Commander decks, because that's right, alongside our entire set of Ikoria, we have 5 Commander decks, all of which will have some cards from Standard in it, but also 71 new cards that I believe are not Standard legal, so those will be packed Legacy, Vintage, and it'll be just really funny if they're randomly in Historic too. Why not, eh? Why not? Core 2021 comes in quarter 3. I don't believe there's any Commander decks in those. Probably still going to chew my hand. Zendikar Rising in quarter 4. 2 more Commander decks, only with 3 new cards each, but still 3 new cards. And more reprints, importantly. Again, I'm going to come back to that. Then we have Commander Collection Green. 8 new artwork for reprints. Reprints are good, I like that. We'll probably have Secret Layers in between all these, just randomly slotted throughout. God knows when they come out, right? That's just seemingly thrown at a wall. And that's a natural place for me to talk about Secret Lair very quickly, right? I was paid and sent a Secret Lair product to open. I got to open the Goblins one from the first batch of Secret Lairs as part of Creators. And you know what? Thank you, Wizards. The idea that you guys let me be part of that was sweet. And I genuinely liked all of the original Secret Lair drops. The Snowland one I was a bit questioned about, because how many of those do you need to open to get the Snowland you need? But apart from that, I thought all of them were cool for people that wanted that kind of thing. Year of the Rat. Great. But then we came to the Constellation one that came out during Worlds with the old Theros gods. Now, the problem I have with those is that it just reminded me that they took lottery cards away. The thing I haven't spoken about enough on this channel is how the monetization of Magic is frustrating sometimes, right? I believe premium products can exist for whales, okay? Like, I hate to use the term whales, but the mythic box crap, right? It just needs to actually be a good product, which the last one was terrible. Like, it's laughable to have other games look to our game and be like, are people really buying that? And you're like, yeah, they are, and I don't know why. It's just bad. But premium product existing is fine, and different price points existing is fine, but when we have things like Expeditions, when we had the Expeditions across Zendikar, Kaladesh, we had them in Amonkhet as well, the masterpieces as they were. Expeditions, Inventions, and Invocations, right? Those were sweet. There were huge amounts of added value. There were people complaining, like the frames of Amonkhet got a lot of criticism. People will complain when you fold a $100 bill and put it in your pack. That's just what Magic players do, right? But on the whole, they were well received, they were loved. They made cracking packs actually even more fun than it already is. And also, as far as I understand, they drove down the price of Standard, which is a good thing. because they don't want standard to be too expensive. These packs were removed and kind of replaced with the mythic booster thing, and that's now that. But now we have a secret lair instead. So instead of getting these constellation old gods in those slots where you can open them randomly in your packs, we've got alternative frames, but not the old exciting expensive cards. You aren't going to open a mana crypt like you could do in Kaladesh in your new packs, because those things are going to be in secret lairs instead. Basically, what I'm bemoaning here, and this is definitely a huge criticism, is giving us something, then taking it away and expecting us not to notice. They're carving up the whole cow to make the money. And I want Wizards to make money. I want that company to be very profitable because it makes the best game in the world. I just don't want them to do it by taking things away they've already given us. If anything, I think, and this might be entitlement actually, and maybe I am sounding a bit entitled. I've criticised people for being entitled in the past, but perhaps I should just bring back the masterpieces for certain sets, on rare occasion. Lottery cards, like masterpieces, were basically there to help shift packs when they weren't sure they're going to sell, and now they're getting record sales numbers and the game is booming, thanks in part, probably due to Arena. They don't need to do that anymore, so they're going to sell them to you in a £40 pack instead. A secret lair. I'm not saying I don't want secret lairs to continue, because I think they're actually a genuinely good product, because people are obviously very much enjoying them. I just want them to be thematically things you wouldn't see elsewhere. Like the Goblin one that I got to unbox. It was this cartoon caricatured version of goblins that we hadn't seen in a long time, and not in that style, and it was completely unique and separate to the current set. The idea that you're going to give me thematic stuff from the previous version of that set, like we're in Theros, we got the original Theros gods, next time we're on Mirrodin, we'll get the Mirrodin swords but in a secret lair. I'm just like, those could be really cool thematic includes for masterpieces. Why not both, Wizards? I know it's free that you're giving it to us, I know that, essentially, you don't have to do this. But it feels like you could at least give something back instead of like cordoning everything off behind a paywall. So that's Secret Lair. Then what else have we got? We've got, each set has Commander products. I've already gone through that, obviously. Commander Legends is coming. A draftable Commander set with 72 Legends and foils in every pack and reprints. Reprints are good. And then every set has normal boosters, theme boosters, collector boosters. Probably going to see some Brawl decks at some point after Ikoria and Zendikar out of the way. Unless Brawl was really received badly. But they keep trying to push it. So, in essence, yeah, there is a hell of a lot of products. And I think on the whole, that is indicative of two things. So one, and this is an either situation, it's not both. On one hand, the game is doing incredibly well, so they can just sell a shitload of product to the consumer. And that's a good thing for the most part, because it means the game is doing well and we all love Magic. Or on the other hand, it means the game is actually not doing so well and it's more of a crash and burn strategy. Those a bit more pessimistic or cynical than myself might think that actually Magic might be on a downturn or have problems behind the scenes that we don't know about, and therefore they are trying to eke out as much value and money out of this as possible. The comment section for my last video around fetch lands had people going, well Vince, they'll just reprint fetch lands as foils and secret lairs when they get the chance to and they need money. It's like an emergency button they can press to print money. And you know what, as much that sounds like a conspiracy theory or some sort of cynical tinfoil hat shit, it's probably true. Either way, whether it's burning the field to make a lot of money off the last part of the corn field, I don't even know. I don't even know what analogy I was going for there. The crops? The oil? I don't know. Whether it be that Magic's doing well or doing badly doesn't really affect how healthy the game is for having so many new products. Whilst it's confusing and hard to follow, I think there are clear, tangible upsides to having this slew, this bombardment of new products. These benefits come in basically three things. You've got new cards, reprints, and new experiences. Only yesterday was I engaging with Shivam, or Gear Up with Gears on Twitter, who's one of the Commander Advisory Group or Committee, around the idea that Commander's getting a lot of stuff and it might damage his identity as this interesting creative space within Magic. My argument was that they can't just print, 20 new cards into Commander every few months. They need to go harder than that, deeper than that, because it allows them to print cards that then play with older cards well, like new lords for new tribes that have been not pumped up in the past. Or, and this is the example that I always go back to, some sort of food commander, or like a tireless tracker for food that instead of putting it into standard where it might just be too good, you can put it into this to at least enable, give an engine, a core card, or even a commander for an archetype in one of the core sets that isn't good enough on its own. So in many ways, what I'm saying is they have to lean into this and put more and more into Commander, or if they don't go hard enough, it will do this thing where we just get strictly better versions of old cards, and that's not going to help Commander in any way. The second point I made was reprints, right? Like, the more products we get, the more likely we are to have reprints. Now, whether they manage that correctly or not, like we see fetch lands reprinted at least twice in the next 12 months, because that's what I would be aiming to do if I was at Wizards of the Coast, because I don't want my old formats to die or be too expensive. then that remains to be seen. Will they do that? Who knows? Who knows? But at least they're creating space for those reprints. So even if they do, let's say, hypothetically mismanage it for the next 12 months, if that space remains, if we have this many products throughout the year and the following year and the year after, we have a lot of space to correct that course and reprint the things that need reprinting, whether that be Oracle of Moldiah or a fucking Scalding Tarn. And lastly, I said new experiences, more experimentation. Things like Battle Bond, where you have two-headed giant drafts. Conspiracy, where you're drafting a multiplayer set. This Unsanctioned thing, where you get like 2 30-card decks and shuffle them together and then play with cards that aren't legal because they're silver-boarded, is actually a really fun Magic experience. Mystery Booster, which was criticised so heavily by everyone on Reddit and all these shitty YouTubers who are just looking for controversy, is actually one of the most fun limited formats I've ever played. This experimentation comes from having lots more products. But as I've said, there is explicit downside. I'm going to clarify the downsides now and leave on the downside. I guess I'm doing the opposite of a shit sandwich, right? I put the good stuff towards the end in this clump and I just put shit in front and shit on the end. That's not how you meant to give criticism, but I don't do this to talk to wizards. I do this to talk to the viewers of this channel and the other players around me and just to see what you think. So if you have any criticisms or commentary or observations that I'm missing or anything to add, please comment down below. The downsides that I see are twofold. The first one is that they need to consider that Legacy and Vintage to a lesser extent are the ones that really take the brunt of all this impact of just new cards being fired into them. Now, whilst we haven't had a misfire like True Name Nemesis for a while, things like Leopold, Astrolabes, Oko, Underworld Breach, Thassa's Oracle, these are cards that are in supplemental sets and the main sets that are just the dumping ground's really Legacy. They get banned out of Modern, they don't even make it into Modern, so Modern's not affected. Some of them get into Standard, don't get affected. Can't interact with certain cards in Standard, so don't show an effect. But Legacy is where it damages them, and if they care about Legacy, they just need to be cautious about that. The exact solution? I don't know, honestly. Bans, I guess? Banning things is pretty fine if it damages Legacy. The second point, and this is the bigger one, is just the confusion, overload, and potential burnout to your customers. Customers only have a finite amount of money to spend, and if you're giving them 1,000 products an hour to figure out what they want, if you're promoting and spoiling a new product today, only a week before another product goes on sale that you're hoping they'll buy, then that's kinda, yeah, that's gonna cause some stress eventually. But look at it this way, and this is my theory on why this isn't really a problem for Wizards. I think they are going to keep pushing this with more and more products until like there's a snap or breaking point, or there's obviously a serious problem. Like, I don't know. The only problem that really matters to them is if sales on a product line goes down. At that point, they found the saturation point, they can peel back a little bit, and they found where they need to be. And lastly, I guess my second point is that I don't know if there's too many products that make it confusing, it's that each product is confusing. Magic, on the whole, is a confusing game, right? So the fact that there's 3 booster products for your core franchise, your core product, is probably a bit too much in the first place. Add to that, different frames, different foilings, different promos. People are confused as to where they can get the cards they want. Some cards are in Brawl decks only, not in standard packs. Knowing which cards are and which cards aren't are basically required to look on the internet. It's gone to the point where you open up a promo foil of a card and you can't even be like, I'm just going to assume that's a $10 card and I've done well here out of my pack. Because there's like 16 different promo versions of something. And I'm saying 16, but that's not actually far off the reality, is it? If they simplify down things like the core boosters, for example, just have showcase frames and expeditions in your core packs. Collector's boosters, all foil. Job done. There you go, I fixed it. If you just simplify down your core product range, then that would alleviate some of the stress from the main product that you're shifting to these people that are saying they're confused or burnt out. There's this old axiom that not all product is for everyone, right? I say axiom, it's kind of a thing people throw around the internet, and I've said it before myself, but I don't know if I believe in that anymore, because I want to play with all the Magic products. I just love Magic. But even if we just say, to play devil's advocate, that statement is true, then your core products shouldn't be confusing, because those products are for everyone. So it shouldn't be confusing what your core product line, your draft packs, and what's in them is. And it shouldn't be confusing what your Commander products are. Because let's be real, Commander is the kitchen table casual, cow to be milked, dead horse to be kicked. No, we'll go back to milked. Cow to be milked. Milked. So have your supplemental sets, and have your boxes, and have all this other stuff, and the secret lairs, and your mystery boosters, and your mythical editions, and all this shit. But make your normal boosters and your Commander product easy to fucking understand. They are the ones that everyone wants to buy. or almost everyone. And that's it, really. I don't really have a solution. I just think they should simplify the product lines themselves, and then you can have a plethora of product lines. At least you know what each one does. The fact that new cards and reprints and borders and frames are all confusing is too much. It's too damn much. I've been Vince, also known as PleasantKenobi on the internet. I know there's another talking head video. Some of you are thinking, where's the gameplay? I did some budget legacy earlier in the week. I've actually recorded quite a lot this week that hasn't come out yet. I should have some vintage coming out next week. I've got Unsanctioned coming out next week. I've got some Brawl gameplay I recorded that I don't know if I'll make it to the channel. Who knows? If you're going to be at NTG Reno, come say hello. I've been Vince, also known as PleasantKenobi on the internet. Let me know in the comment section down below if you think I've been talking complete shit, or if I've missed something, or if you just want to add an extra point on. Or if you agree with me entirely, just tell me you love me. I'm cool with that too. In the meantime, I'm trying to get stressed out about it. I know I'm not going to, and I have to cover this stuff for my job. I'll see you all soon. Ta-ta for now.